Reckless retiree here, and I just got back from checking out the new grandbaby. And so I just left the cell full of electrolyte when I left, knowing it was leaking. Anyway, when I got back, this green bucket here was almost, well, it was right full to the below the handle. And so I drained it out, and I got 3 gallons, where when I started it was just those 2 tanks full. So all the rest was rainwater. Anyway, I'd put a coil of hose in the bottom of the bucket there using gloves, and then I held the end, and then I came out and dropped it, the end there, you can see with the clamp, in one of those gallons, and then I let my thumb off and drained it out, siphoned it out. So then I picked the cell up out of there, and I've been pouring water, which I meant to bring with me, and I didn't. So I gotta go find it. I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, I've been pouring it into the caustic tank, the top tank there, and then it's going down into the cell, going through the cell, or is it? No, it's not. No, it's not. I was thinking it was going through the cell and then back out, but it's just coming from here to there. I was trying to rinse the cell out so there wouldn't be the caustic solution for me to deal with when I'm trying to rebuild it. Because, as I told you last time, I cracked the back plexiglass. I have to remove that and either glue it or replace it. Of course, replacing it would be ideal, but replacing it's going to take ordering the plastic and cutting it and drilling it and tapping it, and that would take at least a day or 2. Whereas if I go to the store and buy the glue for the plexiglass and I glue the plexiglass and clamp it, might be a day. And then I have the metal rings that I made and I didn't use because the bolts are just a little too short to engage the nuts when it's not compressed. When I compress it with a clamp, then just barely get the nuts on. And so they add another 1/2 inch, not a 1/2 inch, maybe 1/4 inch, no, probably 1/2 inch with the 2 plates being a 1/4 inch thick. That's going to make it that much more difficult to get it together. The other thing is I'm using carriage bolts, and so ideally I should put square holes in the one metal plate. And of course that's going to take a day probably to make all those holes from round into square, either with a file or with a broach. I'd have to go buy the broach or make the broach. It's just amazing to me how this just gets more and more involved, more and more time consuming. And of course this is my probably last warmish day for the winter. I don't know, you never know, but it's going to be in the upper 40s today. So anyway, that's where I stand at this point. I tried, just for fun, when I had it full of water, I tried plugging it in again and nothing. So I don't know if the breaker tripped again or if it's just because all the electrolyte's out of it. Probably the second. So I got a lot of work to do before I really get up and running again. And we're coming up on Thanksgiving. We're going out of town on Thursday. This is Tuesday, so there you go. I'm not going to get anything accomplished, am I? So that'll shoot the rest of the week and the weekend, and that means it will be the following Monday before I can do anything. Anyway, we'll see. Just thought I'd give you an update. 'Cause, you know, I don't know. You never know, but it's going to be the following Monday before I can do anything. Anyway, we'll see. Just thought I'd give you an update. 'Cause, you know, I don't know. You never know, but it's going to be the following Monday before I can do anything. Just thought I'd give you an update. Get back with you probably after Thanksgiving.